Welcome to Craziest Top 10s, the channel where we dive into the most thrilling and chilling stories you've ever heard. Get ready, because over the next 10 videos, we're embarking on a journey into the heart of darkness, counting down the top 10 scariest stories ever told. And let me tell you something. These aren't your campfire tales, folks. Every single one of these stories is rooted in true events that defy explanation and will send chills down your spine. We're talking real-life nightmares, the kind that make you question everything you thought you knew. We're talking about encounters with the unknown, stories that have left their mark on the world and the people who experienced them. So if you're brave enough to join us on this terrifying ride, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single terrifying tale. Trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark on this one. Off the rugged coast of Maine stands the Seguin Island Lighthouse, a beacon guiding ships since 1857. Its light has been a savior for countless sailors navigating the treacherous waters. But its history is shrouded in darkness, a chilling reminder that some lights attract more than just lost sailors. The lighthouse has seen more than its fair share of tragedy and mystery. The Seguin Island Lighthouse is more than just bricks and mortar. It's a vessel, a conduit to something more sinister. Its walls have absorbed the sorrow and despair of those who lived within. This is the story of the phantom lighthouse keeper, a tale of isolation, madness, and the haunting presence that lingers within the lighthouse's being. A story that has been whispered among locals for generations.
In the late 1800s, the lighthouse was home to a keeper and his wife. They were the guardians of the light, living a life of duty and solitude. They lived a life of solitude, their world reduced to the endless expanse of the sea and the rhythmic pulse of the light. The isolation was both their sanctuary and their prison. But fate had other plans, dark and tragic plans. The sea, with all its beauty, also brought with it a sense of foreboding and doom.
The keeper's wife fell ill, and isolated on that desolate rock, they were at the mercy of the sea's wrath. The waves crashed relentlessly, mirroring the turmoil within the lighthouse. The keeper watched helplessly as his beloved succumbed to the illness. His heart broke with each passing day, the weight of his sorrow growing heavier.
Legend has it that the keeper, consumed by grief, retreated further into himself. The isolation that once was bearable became a suffocating void. He became a recluse, a ghost haunting his own life. The man who once tended the light now wandered the halls, a shadow of his former self. The only solace he found was in the melancholic melodies he coaxed from his piano. The music was his only companion, a reflection of his inner turmoil.
Night after night, the mournful strains of the piano drifted across the desolate island. The haunting melodies echoed through the night, a testament to his unending grief. Then, one stormy night, the music stopped. The silence was deafening, a stark contrast to the once ever-present melodies. The keeper, his spirit broken, took his own life. The lighthouse, once a beacon of hope, became a monument to his despair. The piano was removed, its music silenced forever. The halls that once resonated with his sorrowful tunes now stood silent and empty. But some things refused to be silenced. The keeper's spirit, bound by his grief, lingered on. They linger, trapped within the very walls that once contained them, echoing through time and tormenting those who dare to enter. The lighthouse, with its tragic history, remains a place where the past and present intertwine. The keeper's despair seemed to seep into the very foundation of the lighthouse, as if the stones themselves absorbed his sorrow. Those who came after felt it too, the isolation amplified by the tragedy that had come before, a haunting presence that never truly left. The keeper's descent into madness was a slow, agonizing process, fueled by his isolation and the relentless pounding of the waves, each crash echoing his inner turmoil. Imagine yourself alone on that windswept rock, the only sound the mournful cry of the gulls and the endless roar of the ocean. a symphony of solitude. The days bled into weeks, the weeks into months, and with each passing moment the keeper slipped further into the abyss of his grief, his mind unraveling like a frayed rope. He had dedicated his life to the lighthouse, but now the darkness had invaded his soul, casting a shadow over his once steadfast spirit. The piano became his only companion, his only confidant, the keys a silent witness to his descent. Some say the music was a form of therapy, a way for him to process his grief, each note a cry for help. Others believe it was something more sinister, a way for him to summon something from the other side, a dark force that fed on his despair. Locals whispered tales of hearing the phantom piano music drifting across the water, a ghostly serenade that chilled them to the bone. Fishermen would pause, their hearts pounding as the mournful melody washed over them, a haunting reminder of the keeper's fate. The keeper's madness became a legend, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones, a story that grew darker with each retelling. Even after the piano was removed, its music seemed to linger, imprinted on the very air, a spectral echo of the keeper's sorrow. Chapter 3. The hauntings begin. The Seguin Island Lighthouse has seen its fair share of keepers come and go over the years, each one drawn to its desolate beauty, its promise of solitude. But little did they know they were stepping into a nightmare, a place where the past refused to stay buried.
The hauntings started subtly at first. A flicker of movement in the corner of the eye, the feeling of being watched from the shadows, unexplained cold spots, a sudden drop in temperature that sent shivers down the spine.
The keepers tried to rationalize it, to explain it away as nothing more than their imaginations running wild. But deep down they knew something was amiss.
Then came the sounds. Footsteps echoing through the empty halls, the creak of floorboards under unseen feet. Whispers carried on the wind, faint and indistinct.
The keepers, their nerves frayed, their senses on high alert, would scan the shadows, their hearts pounding. But there was never anything there, at least nothing they could see.
But the music, the piano music, that was different. It was unmistakable, the same mournful melody that had haunted the previous keeper.
Chapter 4. Chilling Accounts. One account stands out, a chilling tale that sent shivers down my spine, a story that has been passed down through generations. It was the story of a lighthouse keeper, a rugged, no-nonsense kind of guy who had seen it all and heard it all. He'd been stationed at the Seguin Island Lighthouse for years, had heard all the stories, dismissed them as mere folklore, nothing more than sailors' tall tales.
But one night, everything changed, and the line between myth and reality blurred. He was lying in bed, the only sound the rhythmic crash of the waves, when he was jolted awake by an overwhelming sense of dread, a feeling he couldn't shake off. His heart pounded in his chest, his breath caught in his throat, as if the air itself had turned to ice. He sat up in bed, his eyes scanning the darkened room, searching for the source of his unease, every shadow seeming to move. And that's when he saw it, something that defied all logic and reason.
Standing at the foot of his bed, shrouded in shadow, was a figure, an apparition that seemed to absorb the very light around it. Tall and gaunt, dressed in an old-fashioned coat and hat, its features obscured by the darkness, it was like a ghost from another era.
The keeper froze, his mind struggling to comprehend what his eyes were seeing, his body paralyzed with fear. He tried to speak, but no sound escaped his lips, as if his voice had been stolen by the night. The figure just stood there, motionless, its presence radiating an aura of profound sadness, a sorrow that seemed to fill the room.
And then, as quickly as it had appeared, the figure vanished, fading into the shadows, leaving behind an eerie silence.
The keeper, shaken to his core, scrambled out of bed and fumbled for his lantern, his hands trembling. As the warm glow illuminated the room, he could have sworn he heard the faint strains of piano music, a haunting melody that lingered in the air.
Chapter 5: Ongoing paranormal activity. Paranormal investigators have flocked to the island over the years, drawn by the stories and the chance to document the unexplained. They've captured EVPs, voices from beyond the grave, whispering through static-filled recordings. They've witnessed unexplained cold spots, sudden drops in temperature that defy logical explanation, objects moving on their own, doors slamming shut with no apparent cause. The Lighthouse is a hotbed of paranormal activity, a place where the veil between our world and the next seems to wear thin. Cameras have captured strange anomalies, unexplained figures lurking in the shadows. Lights flicker and die, batteries drain at an alarming rate. It's as if the lighthouse itself is alive, its energy feeding off the living. But it's the music, the piano music, that gets to me the most. Even today, with no piano present on the island, visitors report hearing the mournful melodies drifting through the air. Could you face the phantom lighthouse keeper, feel the icy breath of the supernatural on your skin, hear the mournful strains of a piano long gone but not forgotten? The Seguin Island Lighthouse stands as a stark reminder that some stories, some secrets, are forever etched into the fabric of our world. Stay tuned, because our journey into the heart of darkness has just begun. We have 9 more terrifying tales to uncover, each one more chilling than the last. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos, and tell us, are you brave enough to face the unknown?